If you are a strategy fan and own a Nintendo Switch, this video covers the 25 best new strategy games you absolutely need to be playing right now. Starting things off at number 1, Balatro is genuinely one of the most addictive strategy games to land on Nintendo Switch in years. What looks like a simple poker game on the surface is actually a brilliantly deep deck-building roguelite that keeps pulling you back in for one more run. It won Game of the Year at both the Game Awards and GDC, and it absolutely deserved it. Whether you play it docked or handheld, this one is seriously hard to put down. Coming in at number 2, Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is the return fans have been waiting decades for. Released in late 2025 for Switch, this beautifully remastered version of the classic tactical RPG brings enhanced graphics, fully voiced dialogue, and refined gameplay to both Switch 1 and Switch 2 owners. The deep job system alone gives you hundreds of hours of strategy to explore, and the political story of Ramza and the War of the Lions holds up incredibly well even today. Right in the thick of the list at number 3, Unicorn Overlord from Vanillaware might be the most satisfying real-time tactical RPG released on Nintendo Switch in the modern era. You build squads, assign battle formations, and watch your strategies play out on gorgeous hand-painted battlefields. It released in March 2024 to massive critical acclaim and offers an almost absurd amount of content. If you love deep tactical systems wrapped in a beautiful fantasy world, this is essential. Number 4 on the list is Triangle Strategy, and this game deserves far more attention than it gets in mainstream conversations. Square Enix delivered a grid-based tactical RPG with layered political storytelling and a genuinely impactful morality system where your decisions shape the story. The HD 2D art style looks stunning on Switch, and each battle is a thoughtful puzzle that rewards patience and smart unit positioning over brute force every single time. Easily one of the greatest Nintendo Switch RPGs of all time, Fire Emblem Three Houses earns its place at number 5 without any debate. You play as a professor at a military academy, bonding with students who will eventually fight alongside you on the battlefield. The combination of tactical grid combat and daily life management creates a loop that is almost impossible to stop playing. With 4 different story routes, the replayability here is enormous, and the emotional stakes get very real. At number 6, we have Fire Emblem Engage, and while it leans more into the mechanical side of the franchise compared to Three Houses, it is absolutely worth your time as a strategy player. The Emblem Ring system lets you summon legendary Fire Emblem heroes from past games to boost your units mid-battle, which opens up a huge variety of tactical combinations. The combat is crisp, challenging, and deeply rewarding for anyone who enjoys working through tough turn-based encounters on Nintendo Switch. Landing at number 7, Into the Breach is one of the most perfectly designed turn-based strategy games ever made, and it plays brilliantly on Nintendo Switch. Every battle is a small puzzle on an 8x8 grid, where you control mechs fighting off giant insect creatures. What makes it special is that you can see exactly what the enemy will do before you act, turning every turn into a tight optimization challenge. It is short, endlessly replayable, and one of the smartest indie strategy games on the platform. Number 8 goes to Civilization VI, and even though it launched back in 2018 on Switch, it remains one of the deepest and most complete strategy experiences available on the platform. Build a civilization from scratch, manage cities, research technologies, wage wars, and aim for one of several different win conditions. The handheld format is perfect for a game like this because quick sessions feel productive and long sessions genuinely disappear hours from your day without warning. At number 9, Sid Meier's Civilization VII arrives on Nintendo Switch 2 and completely reinvents the formula in ways longtime fans will either love or debate endlessly. The new age system breaks your civilization into 3 distinct historical eras with different gameplay dynamics, which stops late-game stagnation that older Civ titles were known for. It launched in 2025 and has been steadily patched into excellent shape, making it a strong recommendation for strategy players picking up the Switch 2. Coming in at number 10, the XCOM 2 collection brings one of the greatest turn-based tactics games ever made to Nintendo Switch and includes all the major expansion content. You command a resistance force against an alien occupation, managing both squad-level tactical missions and strategic base operations simultaneously. The permadeath system means you genuinely care about every soldier, and losing a veteran unit in a bad move hits differently than almost any other strategy game out there. At number 11, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope took everything that made the first game a surprise hit and expanded it in every direction. The overworld exploration is now free roaming, the battle system is more flexible, and the new Spark abilities let you build genuinely creative team compositions. It launched in 2022 to excellent reviews and still holds up as one of the most fun and accessible tactical strategy games you can play on Nintendo Switch right now. Landing at number 12, Slay the Spire remains one of the most influential deck-building strategy games ever released, and the Nintendo Switch version runs perfectly. You climb a procedurally generated spire, building a card deck one encounter at a time until you face a final boss that tests everything you have put together. Each of the 4 characters plays completely differently, and mastering the synergies between cards and relics gives this game near infinite replay value for strategy fans. At number 13, Pikmin 4 is the kind of real-time strategy game that works on multiple levels, accessible enough for newcomers but deep enough to obsess over for completionists. You command tiny creatures called Pikmin, each with different abilities, to solve environmental puzzles and defeat enemies. The Switch version is visually stunning with tight controls, and the addition of Ochi, a rideable companion, completely changes how you approach exploration and combat planning. Number 14 belongs to Factorio, which arrived on Nintendo Switch 2 in late 2025 and is one of the most complex and rewarding factory-building strategy games ever created. You land on an alien planet and must automate increasingly complicated industrial systems to build a rocket and escape. The logic and planning involved in laying out efficient production lines is genuinely brain-stretching, and the satisfaction of watching a perfectly optimized factory run is unlike anything else in the strategy genre. Coming in at number 15, Tactics Ogre Reborn is the definitive version of one of the most beloved tactical RPGs in the history of the genre, now available on Nintendo Switch, with full HD visuals and a rearranged soundtrack. The class system is deep, the story tackles heavy themes of war and political morality, and the chariot system lets you rewind time after battles to rethink decisions. If you enjoyed Final Fantasy Tactics and want more of that slow, thoughtful tactical depth, this is the next game you should install. At number 16, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim from Vanillaware is one of the most unusual entries on this list because it blends visual novel storytelling with real-time strategy tower defense combat. The story follows 13 teenagers across multiple time periods, connected to a giant mech crisis, and untangling the narrative is genuinely one of the most impressive feats in modern game writing. The strategy side is surprisingly deep once the full scope of the upgrade systems opens up, making this a must-play for adventurous Switch owners. Number 17 goes to SteamWorld Heist 2, released in 2024 and arguably the best game in the long-running SteamWorld series. This side-scrolling turn-based tactics game has you commanding a crew of steam-powered robots across submarine missions, with a really satisfying ricochet shooting mechanic that rewards creative thinking. It introduced new job classes, a vast ocean world to explore, and a level of polish that makes every encounter feel handcrafted. It flew under a lot of radars, but it should absolutely be on your Switch. At number 18, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is the long-awaited revival of one of Nintendo's most beloved tactical strategy franchises, and it delivers both classic games with a gorgeous new visual style. You command armies across grid-based maps, using different CO powers and unit types to outmaneuver opponents. Both campaigns offer dozens of hours of content, and the map editor lets you create and share custom battles. For fans of clean, classic turn-based strategy, this package is incredibly good value. Coming in at number 19, Disgaea 7 Vows of the Virtueless is the latest entry in Nippon Ichi's utterly ridiculous tactical RPG series, and it keeps the tradition of absurd humor and mind-bending depth alive on Nintendo Switch. The Disgaea series is famous for letting you level characters into the millions and grind through reincarnation cycles for near infinite power growth. The combat grid mechanics are genuinely smart beneath the comedy exterior, and the colossal unit system that lets you grow to massive size on the battlefield is a new highlight. At number 20, Shogun Showdown is a compact and clever turn-based strategy roguelite that released in 2024 and quickly found a passionate following among Switch players who love tight decision-making. You play as a samurai-era warrior navigating a gridded lane, timing attacks and positioning against enemies who all telegraph their moves. Unlocking new weapons, skills, and characters adds substantial replayability, and the whole experience is designed to be played in short sessions that still feel deeply satisfying. Number 21 is Battlesuit Aces, which released in October 2025 and immediately drew attention from strategy fans looking for something fresh on both Switch platforms. This mech-based tactical game combines grid combat with a card-driven ability system that forces you to manage resources carefully while positioning your units against intelligent enemy AI. Critics scored it highly across the board, and it has quickly become one of the more talked-about new strategy arrivals of the year among serious tactical RPG players. At number 22, Astrea Six-Sided Oracles puts a completely unique spin on the deck-building strategy formula by replacing cards with dice, and the result is one of the most creative roguelite strategy games on Nintendo Switch. Every run, you build a dice pool and discover powerful synergies between oracles, curses, and purification mechanics that make each playthrough feel different. It is the kind of game that is easy to describe, but almost impossible to stop playing once you understand the depth hiding inside its clean visual design. Coming in at number 23, Wargroove 2 is a worthy follow-up to the already excellent original, and one of the best pure turn-based strategy games made in the spirit of classic Advance Wars. It introduced 3 new single-player campaigns with interweaving stories, new commander characters with unique groove abilities, and a roguelike conquest mode that adds a completely fresh way to experience the game. The map editor and online sharing tools give this one serious staying power well beyond its main campaign. At number 24, Fae Farm from Phoenix Labs brings a cozy but surprisingly strategic farming and life simulation experience to Nintendo Switch that rewards careful planning as much as anything else on this list. You manage your farm, expand your homestead, craft gear, and work through dungeon puzzles across a charming fairy tale world that is genuinely difficult to stop playing. It supports up to 4-player co-op locally or online, and the depth of the resource management and progression systems makes it a legitimate strategy pick for players who want something more relaxed. Closing out the list at number 25, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tactical Takedown does something nobody really expected and pulls it off brilliantly by combining beat-em-up TMNT action with a full turn-based tactical RPG structure. You build a team from the iconic turtle roster, upgrade abilities, manage positioning on combat grids, and fight through waves of Foot Clan enemies and classic villains. It is one of the freshest takes on the TMNT franchise in years, and a genuinely fun tactical strategy game that works, whether you are a longtime fan or completely new to the series.